Please take your moment over. The public comment period is about to start. Commissioner Alcott, you retrieve that, please. The first person who is signed up to speak and to speak in regards to Resolution 23-28 is Miss Becky Bates.
Hi, I'm Becky Bates. I'm president of Shelter Friends of Hickman County, and I'm here to speak about Resolution 2328 in regards to shelter. Really quickly, we moved to Coble in August 2008, and within a week I had a mama cat and kittens, and within a month I had a Pyrenees dumped on our road. That began my introduction to the Hickman Humane Society. You'd think 15 years later it would somehow be better, but I have a foster dog at my house who was abandoned because his owners were transferred with the Army. My girls named him Eisenhower. I'd like to think Eisenhower wouldn't have spent 10 days roaming neighborhoods and woods if his owners knew that they could take him to a shelter to surrender him. This shelter discussion began 5 years ago. I've been in front of 3 different mayors and 3 different legislative bodies, and probably as many committee meetings as all of you. As of today, for 2023 in Hickman County, there's been 234 calls to dispatch for dogs roaming, nearly causing wrecks, attacking livestock, threatening families on their own properties, chasing people enjoying recreation, or simply needing rescue. As of today, Shelter Friends has raised nearly $220,000 towards the shelter. These donations have come from residents, from people who grew up here, from people who just have a weekend farm here, or some connection to Hickman County. They've put their money toward the shelter because they see the issue. They're speaking to you, the legislative body, that this is important to them. I hope you've been listening, and I hope you vote yes for 2328.
The next person on the list is Miss Susan Renfro to speak to Resolution 2328.
Hi, I am on the board of Shelter Friends of Hickman County and also the Hickman Humane Society. I am the dog adoption coordinator for the Humane Society and one of the animal welfare investigators. So I see a lot of stuff that's going on in the county firsthand. Just this weekend, we had a lady that had to shoot 2 dogs that came onto her property because they were going after and killing her goat. We had a guy that had a dog go into his yard, attacked his dog. A lady that had dogs chasing her cats in her property. And another lady commented that her dog, she has to go out with a gun whenever she brings her dog out into her yard because it's been attacked so many times in her yard. Law enforcement's great, and they definitely help us with calls, but they can't keep up. They have so much on their plate already. We really need animal control here, and we need a shelter so that this way these roaming dogs, these stray dogs have somewhere. They've been dealing with these issues. It's time, I believe, that the county kind of steps up and helps with that. And the Humane Society is not going to go away. We're going to still support the shelter and do what we're still doing now, but we need help. We can't keep up. So I'm definitely for yes for the shelter and animal control. Thank you.
That concludes all the folks who have signed up for this particular public comment period. You had in your packet an agenda. Chair, take a motion to approve the agenda. Commissioner Clark, seconds.
No,
Oh, sorry.
I don't mind seconding it, but I've got a adjustment to it.
Well, let's get a second first, then we'll have it for discussion.
Second,
Seconded by Commissioner Clark. Mr. Clark?
under the election appointment confirmation, that there's a nominee to be brought forth by the from the first district commissioners to the IDB. We need to put that in there. I'd like to add that.
First district.
Yes.
Any other changes to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving as amended, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next item is adoption of the minutes from the Monday, August 28th meeting. Those are in your packet. Chair will entertain a motion in regards to that. Motion by Commissioner Mayberry, second by Commissioner Barnhill. I'm sorry, Matthew. I was going to say, I just wanted to say Matthew, and I apologize. Commissioner Barnhill, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Are there any special recognitions, memorials, commendations? The chair is unaware of any for tonight. The next item is elections, appointments, and confirmations. I know the nominating committee met. So, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The nominating committee met on September the 5th with just a couple of changes. The notes are in the packet if there's any discussions or questions.
Any discussion? Commissioner Callcott.
One change is that I will not be substituting Commissioner McNair on the solid waste.
Commissioner McNair will remain on
He'll
solid.
remain on solid waste.
He knows that, he made it in.
Yeah.
So we do have that one change.
So nothing else, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
Have a motion to accept the minutes and the nominations as amended. Second by Commissioner Moore. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? I guess at this point, we have a note here of an appointment of the new solid waste director. That's Jordan Sachs. Mr. Mayor, would you like to make any comments in regards to this?
I would like to welcome Jordan to Hickman County. I think he's going to make a fine asset to our county, and welcome.
The chair is unaware if there really has to, do we have to take a vote on that?
I'm pretty sure we do. I'll make the motion to
Approve?
approve it.
Second. Second by Commissioner McNair. Any discussion? Just so you get the full impact, Jordan, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Here. Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barhill.
Yes.
Paul Callicott.
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Janakis.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
We have 14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
The nomination is approved. All right, congratulations. Commissioner Clark. Would you like to make another nomination in regards to the IDB?
No,
No,
I'm sorry.
actually, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a nomination to the First District IDB,
Okay.
Angelina Dykeman. She's well qualified and willing to do the job, so I nominate her to fill that role.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Callicott. Any discussion? We'll just roll call vote that.
I have to do the minutes.
Okay, never mind. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? You gonna feel like we left her out. And blame you. You can take it. We have 5 names for notaries. Joel Dunn, Stephanie Hendricks, Jeremy James, Brianna Parrish, and Ashley Williams. Chair to entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Commissioner Thomason, second by Commissioner Murray. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Are there any other elections, appointments, or confirmations? Mayor?
Yes, sir, there was, there is one position open on the 911 board. I would like to, place Johnny Ruth Elrod on the 911 board, if that's possible.
I'm unfamiliar with the 911 bylaws. Anybody?
In the past, the mayor's made nominations to
This body?
us, and we affirm it.
I have a motion by, there's a request by the mayor for us to approve Johnny Ruth Elrod to the 911 board. Is there a commissioner who would like to make a motion in that regard? Commissioner Chester, and second by Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
I don't believe there's any quarterly or annual or special reports at this time. Next item is communications from Mayor, County Mayor.
I'm gonna make it short and sweet, ladies and gentlemen. I met with the engineers, hopefully for the last time, or one of the few last times, on the EMS station out of Pinewood. I know we're 11 months in the making. I'm pushing it as hard as I can. I met with the HVAC engineer as well as the electrical engineer. There was something to do with the standpipe now or something for the fire service, but they're gonna work that into the detail. So we should have one last meeting with them. Also, I've applied for the septic permit for that facility out there. There's some things that's gotta be done. He called me today. You're gonna have to have somebody dig a hole, cause he can't get his equipment through it, cause he said it was very rocky. However, I've made arrangements with that, so maybe one day next week we can get them together and we can get that done and taken care of so we can obtain a 911 address for that facility. Other than that, that's about all I have.
Are there any questions for the mayor?
Thank you.
Monthly committee, excuse me, monthly committee report, planning commission. Another minutes are in the packet. Solid waste committee.
Solid Waste Committee did meet, the minutes are in the packet. I know Marty needs to, if will allow, he needs to speak to us about another grant that has the possibility with a short deadline, so he'd like to speak to us if possible.
There's not objection to Mr. Kirkhill addressing this body. Mr. Kirkhill.
I'm applying for a recycling grant, up to $50,000 with a 20% match, but I gotta have county court approval. Deadline is this Friday the 30th to have a grant in, so we did get the other grant for the compactor at the new convenience center east. So I'm asking for full body permission from legislative body to apply for this grant. They can guarantee I'll get it. It's for $50,000 for recycling.
Director Turpill's asking for authority to apply for that grant.
Make a motion.
Make a motion, motion by Commissioner Thomason, second by Commissioner Clark. Any discussion? Commissioner Calicut?
What pot of money will that come from?
It will be, of course, that borrowed money is for these, the expansion on 3 and 4 and new equipment, but we'll be discussing next Monday night at our board meeting whether to put it out fund balance or which way the best approach. So I talked to Chris and Jim today about, we kind of met together, so that we, coming from that.
Okay.
Any other questions for the director?
I have one more thing.
Yes, sir.
The bids for the East Convenience Center, it will be in the paper this week, and if next week, no, we're going for 2 weeks, and we're gonna have a public discussion over at the several places, and then the bids will be open at the finance office following week, so.
Thank you.
It's getting closer, getting ready to happen.
Health, Safety, and Properties Committee.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, did you need a?
We got a vote.
I'm sorry, I apologize. We have a motion, that was made by Commissioner Thompson, seconded by Commissioner Clark, to approve that grant. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Health, Safety, and Properties. Commissioner Mayberry.
Wasn't that one supposed to be roll call, cause it was money?
It will be if we take some
If we
kind
get
of
it.
action on it.
Okay.
This is for the approval and we go after.
Health Committee didn't meet, minutes are in effect.
Any question for Health, Safety, and Properties? Finance Committee?
We did meet and minutes are in the packet, but I would like to make a motion to approve the financial statement from August of 2023.
Have a motion by Commissioner Jordan to approve the financial statement dated August 2023, second by Commissioner Mayberry. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barfield,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Clay Chester,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thomas,
Yes.
Steve Janakis,
Yes.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
With 14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
14 yes, the financial summary is approved. Anything else? Commissioner? No. Budget, Finance, and Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Budget Committee did meet this month, and the minutes are in the packet. This month, there are only 6 budget amendments that need approval tonight. As they are quite different, and since there are so few, I'll run through them individually and expeditiously. 2413, grant reclass regarding supplies for the Sheriff's Office. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve Budget Amendment 2413, second by Commissioner Pickard. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barfield,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Clay Chester,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thomas,
Yes.
Steve Janakis,
Yes.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
2413 is approved. Commissioner Moore.
2414, use of insurance recovery for vehicle repair and maintenance for the Sheriff's Office. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve a budget amendment 2414, second by Commissioner Pickard. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barfield,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Clay Chester,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thomas,
Yes.
Steve Janakis,
Yes.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
2414 approved. Commissioner Moore.
2415 supports a replacement vehicle for the planning and zoning inspections. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve budget amendment 2415, second by Commissioner Giannakis. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Clay Chester. Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Denofrio.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
Budget amendment 2415 is approved. Commissioner Moore.
2416, the mayor is seeking to move a portion of his travel budget to support a temporary part-time assistant. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve, budget amendment 2416, second by Commissioner Pickard. Any discussion? Commissioner Thompson.
I'll just point out that this is just a temporary thing to allow the normal, secretary go on a trip. Thank you.
Any other discussion on 2416? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Denofrio.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
2416 approved. Commissioner Moore.
2417 is requesting a partial use of the drug fund to purchase a patrol vehicle. I move to approve this amendment.
Have a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve budget amendment 2417, second by Commissioner Barnhill. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calcott.
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Denofrio.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
2417 approved. Commissioner Moore.
And lastly, 2418 is a contribution from County General to the Rescue Squad to purchase a new radio system. I move to approve this amendment.
Okay. Before we do this, and I've tried to get some best advice on this as I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Financial Management Act of 81, which is what we're under, you know, it needs to come from the Budget Committee with some kind of action. There was no action taken at the night of the Budget Committee on this particular budget amendment. So in order to ensure that we are following the letter of the law, then we'll need to have a 2/3 vote to take up this particular budget amendment and to have that discussion. Does that make sense? So the chair will entertain motions to set aside the rules.
Is that the only motion you'll entertain?
No, not necessarily, but I mean, that's what's gonna be required for us to have that discussion.
The motion I'd like to make is I made the motion for the budget amendment, and I was there the night, and we all agreed not to take action, and I guess that may not have been the thing to have done. This is a complicated issue, and it seems to get more complicated all the time. I would like for it to go back to the Public Safety Committee and deliberate a little bit further in there. Some of the things I've learned is that I think, we've talked about it in here for as long as Todd's been a commissioner, doing some adjustments to the 911. I would feel more comfortable if we pursued that, found out exactly where we are. We may have jumped the shark on this one just a little bit. And I'd like to go back to the Public Safety Committee. And that'd be a better, Claude said it pretty good at the budget meeting, that'd be the better place to have the discussion, I believe. That would give us 2 weeks before we would have to actually vote on it to think on it further. If we start having the discussion about what to do about it in here tonight, I really don't think it's gonna pass. and that's not enough time to deliberate on what you learned in here tonight. There's some more information I believe needs to come out, and I just think that'd be better, so I'll make a motion to send it back to the Public Safety Committee to be further heard there.
Have a motion by Commissioner Clark to send Budget Amendment 2418 to Public Safety for further deliberation. Second by Commissioner Callicott. Any discussion on that, the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 2418. Sent to that committee. Is there anything else, Commissioner Moore?
That is it. Thank you, Chairman.
Congratulations. 1 year.
I did it. We did.
Health Foundation.
Didn't meet.
Agricultural Extension Committee. Public Records Committee.
Did not meet.
Economic and Community Development.
Yes, our board did meet this month. Mainly, we reviewed the economic analysis study that's in your packet following resolution 2024-19, or 29, I'm sorry. If anybody has any questions about that impact study, I'm happy to answer as best I can. That's really all I have for tonight.
Are there any questions for the Economic Development?
Thank you.
Board of Zoning Appeals.
We had a meeting and, the minutes should be in your packet.
Are there any questions for Board of Zoning Appeals? Industrial Board.
We did not meet.
Are there any other committees or boards that need to have a report or to be heard tonight? If not, the chair would take a motion to approve the minutes of these various committees, put it to our minutes. Motion by Commissioner Giannakis, second by Commissioner Moore. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next item. Is the meeting calendar for the upcoming month. Are there any changes that anyone is aware of that need to be made?
The industrial board will meet on the 19th of October. At 6 o'clock. 6:30, I mean, sorry,
At what?
at 6:30,
At 6:30?
yes.
And that will take place at
The co-work zone.
coworkers? Any other changes? Okay, modify and get it out to everyone. Is there any unfinished business? Under new business, resolution 2327 is a resolution for Hickman County American Rescue Plan Act fund allocation towards road paving. This is sponsored by Commissioner Thomason, Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Giannakis, and Commissioner Clark. Do any of you wish to speak to this?
I can simply say that this is something that is long overdue. We missed the road, and it's something that needs to be done to finish up that section of the county. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark.
I'm a sponsor on this, and I'm all for the money for the repaving of the road. I don't think we've done our due diligence on the speed bumps. That public safety's one of my main concerns, I'm not sure, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Jason, but can we put speed bumps on a county road?
I'm not sure, I think we need to get like Dan's opinion on that. I mean, I know when you're dealing with subdivisions, private property, yes. Like I said, the actual county road, I'm not for sure, this Ron has more information than me, I don't know that we can.
I'm going back a lot of years, I used to have to ride a school bus through that road every afternoon on the way home. Most of the days, they won't be playing ball there, the speed bumps. I'd like to separate the two. I'd like to be able to vote for the road and have more discussion on the speed bumps, if there's some way we can do that. I don't know if Alan's in the room or not, but he'll be sending ambulances down through there when nobody's playing ball, but they're still gonna have to worry about the speed bumps. I'd like some conversation on how we might address the problem of that brand new pavement becoming a racetrack, other than putting a speed bump on it. It had speed bumps on it before we put that new pavement down there. They weren't official, but they were speed bumps. I'd like to see if we could find out somehow if we could designate it, if, when the children are there, the speed limit goes to this, and possibly even a heavier fine while they're there. I've got confidence in the sheriff to be able to take care of the driving situation that way. It's just that there's so much time that there's not gonna be kids there to have, that's a pretty major road when you live where I live. A lot of people travel that road every day, and I just have a hard time putting over the speed bumps. This is one resolution. Can you think of a way we could separate them? I don't really wanna vote yes for the speed bumps.
Well, you have before you resolution 2327, you're gonna have to make a motion to amend.
I make a motion to amend to omit the second attachment for the speed bumps.
It is 6:37. We're gonna take a 5-minute recess. If that be long enough for you to go through that resolution and strike those and make those changes that you're interested in.
Well, it's an attachment for the 30.
Well, but it's gonna change your bottom line numbers, it's gonna change several numbers in there. I don't mind, I mean, all I'm trying to do is give you enough time so we don't have to walk through that too harshly. Chair, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess.
He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure. I wanted to wait.
Legislative body can be ordered.
But it's said, yes,
Resolution 2327, after discussion with the Commissioner Clark, his motion to amend is to, in the fourth paragraph, after attachment 1, for there to be a period, for the remaining of that verbiage to be removed until you get to the County Highway Department, which will be a new sentence, capital T, the County Highway Department has agreed to do the necessary prep work. The next paragraph changes the value and the amount there from 133,600 to 130,000. All references to attachment 2 would be removed. And under total cost, it would be 130,000. Is that correct, Commissioner Clark?
Yeah.
Is there a second to that motion to amend? Second by Commissioner Collins. You have before you resolution 2327 and a motion to amend it. Any discussion on the motion to amend? Commissioner Gianakis.
Mr. Chairman, I had requested the speed bumps be put in, and I speak for any kid that's ever played, or any parent that's had a kid play a Houston McCord and had seen kids run across that road. It's dangerous. It's even more dangerous now, with the road being as smooth as it is. Speed bumps, you know, we can put flashing lights, you can drop speed limit. Everybody in here can raise their hand if they'll slow down for a speed bump, and you will. Promise you will. I know, I talked to Ronald, I think there's still questions on whether or not we can do it, but if we can set a speed limit, I don't see why and we can pave the road, I don't see why we could not put a speed bump in.
Any other discussion on the motion to amend? Roll call vote on the motion to amend.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
David Pickers,
Yes.
Matthew Barhill.
No.
Paul Calcott,
No.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thomason.
Yes.
Steve Janakis.
No.
Dusty Jordan,
No.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
No.
We have 9 yes, 5 no.
Does any commissioner wish to give her vote?
9 yes, 5 no.
Motion to amend resolution 2327 is approved. You have before you now resolution 2327 as amended. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
No.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barhill,
Yes.
Paul Calcott,
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Janakis.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
13 yes, 1 no.
13 yes, 1 no. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
13 yes, 1 no.
Resolution 2327 is approved. In your packet, you have a budget amendment 2419 that corresponds to resolution 2327. Those numbers now would no longer be 133,600, but 130,000. As was the previous discussion in regards to the budget amendment, 2318, I believe. This did not go before the county budget committee because of the brevity of the requirements to get this out and the bid started. There has been a request that this be taken up tonight. In order for that to occur, it will require us to set aside the rules, and it will be a requirement of 10 commissioners to approve, taking up discussion on budget amendment 2419. Commissioner Clark.
I move we vote to set aside the rule.
Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Collins to set aside the rules so that we can take that budget amendment 2419. Roll call vote.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill. Paul Calabite.
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark. Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Janaka.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
We have 14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
The rule being set aside, budget amendment 2419 is laid before you. Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Clark, I'll assume that you guys could act as the sponsor and co-sponsor of that budget amendment. Any discussion on budget amendment 2419? Clark and Collins. Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore.
Yes.
Ricky Murray.
Yes.
Keith Nash.
Yes.
Devin Pickard.
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill.
Yes.
Paul Calabite.
Yes.
Clay Chester.
Yes.
Danny Clark.
Yes.
Todd Collins.
Yes.
Wayne Thompson.
Yes.
Steve Janaka.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
Resolution 2327 is approved. Resolution 2328 regarding the construction of an animal shelter in Hickman County. Sponsored by Commissioner Barnhill, Commissioner Chester, Commissioner Collins, and Commissioner Pickard. Do any of you wish to speak to this matter? Commissioner Chester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Resolution 2328 seeks to address a need that has been present in Hickman County for many years. I've stated before in this body that our county is in the animal control business, whether we want to be or not, because of the calls received by the Sheriff's Department about stray and dangerous animals. Yet our Sheriff's Department has never had any official tools or means of dealing with these calls that they take. Sheriff Kraft has acknowledged this difficult position to be in, and he has expressed his willingness to help by providing an animal control officer through his department. We've also been very fortunate that the Hickman Humane Society has fulfilled many of these animal control duties on behalf of our county for a long time, but that group has expressed an immediate need for relief. They've done a tremendous job in their efforts, but they have shouldered this burden by themselves for way too long. But tonight we have an opportunity as a legislative body to step up and help our animal volunteers in this community, as well as providing our Sheriff's Department with an actual avenue for handling the animal-related calls that they're already receiving. We can also provide a needed service to the citizens of Hickman County. Perhaps most importantly, Resolution 2328 allows us to accomplish these goals in a fiscally responsible way, which has been the concern by a lot of commissioners over the years. And while the original animal control resolution from 2018 did state that Shelter Friends would raise all funds for the construction of the shelter, ARPA was not around back then, and ARPA funds are now available. And I would suggest to this body tonight that the agreement we are voting on in front of us is actually a better arrangement for the county and its taxpayers long-term than that original resolution back in 2018. A yes vote tonight means we can begin construction on the animal shelter without using any property tax dollars. We can provide needed relief for our volunteers in the Humane Society. We can help our sheriff and his department handle the animal-related calls that they are already receiving. And we can ensure that Shelter Friends remains intact and responsible for funding and managing the day-to-day operations of the new facility. Resolution 2328 also makes it very clear that Hickman County will own the building and have the right to repurpose it in the future if this arrangement were to ever change. I feel it's a win-win for everyone involved. So regardless of whether you consider yourself an animal person or not, my hope is that each of you will consider the need for animal control now and in the future as our county continues to grow, and agree that voting to approve this resolution at this time with these ARPA funds is the responsible and the appropriate way to address this issue. I want to thank the Shelter Friends group and also the Humane Society for all of their hard work and also their willingness to continue helping with animal care in the future. And at this time, I'll yield the floor to any of the other co-sponsors who wish to speak. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Pickett.
Number one, I appreciate Commissioner Chester's work in this and putting this resolution together. I also really appreciate the passion that the Shelter Friends and the Hickman Humane Society have for this aspect of our community. They're not doing it for pay. They're doing it for the love of animals, and for the love and the safety of our community. I know that Ms. Bates has spoken to us several times about it, very eloquently, as has others. And she has made mention that beyond the funding that we seek to give them tonight, that once the brick and mortar is visible, that perhaps there will be more grant money and some things that will assist them in running that. So I think that's good. I think this will also give our sheriff more ability and tools to handle the problem that's obvious. We've heard the statistics of the dog bites, the animals that are running stray, and I think that it will give Sheriff Kraft an opportunity and more tools to be able to assist our community in that. I think that we hear Robert talking about having to go to properties at times, and he's concerned about his own safety because of animals running loose. And I know there's a question of, well, we want guarantees of everything. Anything that's done well, or anything that's achieved in a great manner, there's going to be minimal risk involved. There's got to be some. And I just think this is something, when I was running for commissioner, one of the main things that I continued to hear from folks in my district was the animal control concern. And I understand that there's maybe more of that in some areas of our community than others, but it's an issue. It's been on the table for, better than 2 decades. We've got the money, as Clay has said, and I think it would be foolish for us to pass that up. It's a need, and I think we need to go ahead and make that happen tonight. I yield.
There are 2 other sponsors, Commissioner Collins, Commissioner Barnhill. Y'all want to speak to this?
There's not much more that we can say. This has been an issue that we've tried to work very hard toward to accomplish. And Clay put it best, that it's the best time to do this. The commitment is there on both sides, so I agree with everything that's been said. Should have been done years ago.
The sponsors haven't spoken. Does any commissioner wish to speak to Resolution 2328?
What was the question?
Commissioner.
What was the question?
Does any other commissioner wish to speak to Resolution 2328?
Yeah, he got his hand up.
Commissioner Clark.
There was talk, either at budget or public safety, I'm not sure, that the county would operate the facility. It doesn't say in here that we don't operate the facility. There needs to be a memorandum of understanding between the true owners of the building, which will be the county government, and the Shelter Friends. I've got no problem with voting yes for this tonight, but I feel the need to amend it that no funds will be put forth until that memorandum of understanding agreed upon by both parties is in place. I think it's gonna take a minute to work it out. And I really don't wanna just pass this as it is. I would rather do it to earmark the money to make the $550,000 of the ARPA money available and earmark that. But until we've got a memorandum of understanding on who's gonna do what, there was even some talk, I believe that's been taken care of the director for the shelter be a similar situation to what Ms. Brock is in, being paid by the finance office but funded by the Friends of the Shelter. That's no longer a consideration? I mean, I got no problem with you answering, Clay.
I think sure. The way the final wording on this read is that the county would only have the one animal control officer hired, supervised, compensated through the sheriff's department. Any additional employees would be under the Shelter Friends, would be their employee. and just speaking to some of the other, we would still have a budget amendment brought back here to actually cut the check, or maybe that's a Crystal question, correct?
Yes, we have to do that.
So, to sort of answer Danny's question about, when we get that memorandum of understanding, I mean, this is just committing us, in my opinion, saying we're gonna give you the money to build this thing, but, my intent was to allow the people directly involved, the mayor, the sheriff, the shelter friends, to work out all the details, bring it back to us for us to approve that final MOU. I don't wanna be in the business of it. This was tough enough to come up with this, and I think this leaves it open-ended enough they can work all that out. I'd rather a commissioner who doesn't know all the ins and outs of how this thing needs to operate be trying to put that in the form of a resolution. So I think we can still accomplish what he's after once we approve this. This is just committing to them, we're gonna allocate the money for you to build it. Not them take a chance on working all that out, and before they come back to us, we found another use for ARPA that has drained that money on down below the 550 that we need, which could happen the longer it drags out or the more committees it gets kicked back to. So that was my fear in not voting on it tonight, to go ahead and give them the assurances that we are gonna commit this money to you building the animal shelter.
Commissioner Jordan?
I agree with Commissioner Clark and some of it with Commissioner Chester. We did need a memorandum of understanding. I had asked for in one of the committee meetings, and Shelter Friends, supplied the cost estimate for that building with, there's several things blank, they filled those in. I would like to know, Clay, if you know the answer, knowing that with an economy like it is, a bid is only good for a short period of time because material prices change. Do you know where these numbers came from, Clay?
Becky's still.
I was gonna think somebody. Nobody.
We recognize Ms. Bates to.
Without objection.
The construction came from Centertown Metals, electrical from Shepherd, plumbing from Schaefer Plumbing. Let's see, drywall installation was from American Remodeling.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I do have an amendment to this resolution. I still have the floor. Under section 8, the last, the initial agreement shall be for a period of 2 years and shall automatically renew annually for an additional year unless either party chooses to terminate the agreement. I would like to insert, and I'm sorry I don't have slips of paper because my printer's not working. So, you listen, Casey?
I'm listening.
Should either party terminate this agreement, no tax dollars will be used to continue shelter funding for what the Shelter Friends had agreed to.
One more time, should either party terminate this agreement, no tax dollars?
No tax dollars will be used to continue to fund what the Shelter Friends have said, and what Clay has put in here, said they were willing to do. The employee, the veterinary services, feed, that kind of thing.
Commissioner Jordan, I have looked at what the clerk has written down twice. So could I see if this fulfills what you're looking for? Should either party terminate this agreement, no tax dollars will be used to continue the operation of the shelter. Period.
Basically, that's what I'm saying.
Have a motion by Commissioner, Jordan to amend section 8 to read as a final sentence. Should either party terminate this agreement, no tax dollars will be used to continue the operation of the shelter. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Giannotti. Any discussion on the motion to amend Resolution 2328? Commissioner Chesterfield.
I don't think that amendment is even necessary because this body is not powerless in the future. We would be able to do that exact same thing through our budget committee and our budget process. And even if that amendment was in there, 8 commissioners could undo that also and appropriate money as they see fit. To me, that seems like we're almost setting it up to fail before we ever build it, because the wording of if either party terminates. Like Commissioner Pickard said, at some point in time, we can make this thing 20 pages long and try to spell out every single detail, but there's gonna have to be some trust factor. And I believe that the Shelter Friends Group is committed to seeing this thing through, because they know that if they ever do dissolve, there's a good chance it won't be funded. And then at that point in time, this body would have the power to decide what they wanted to do or how much money they wanted to appropriate. And so I don't get the helpless persona we put on, like if we pass this tonight, we're gonna be just cutting a blank check forever for animal control with no say in it. I think we're selling ourselves short of, what this body could do if we ever had to cross that bridge. I yield.
Commissioner Collins.
I agree. We couldn't walk away from it if we wanted to. I mean, that'd be a closing hospital with people in it. We'd have to close out. We would have to go through a process before we could just close the doors. There would be no way that we could just walk away from it. All of this is gonna have to come before the Public Health Committee anyway. There's gonna be an oversight body there for it. So this should be, I agree, this should be something that we see coming. This should be something to be worked out and prepared for and dealt with. I think we already have that in place.
Any other discussion on the motion to amend 2328? Commissioner Mayberry.
It says the initial agreement shall be for a period of 2 years and shall automatically be renewed for an additional unless either party chooses to terminate this agreement.
Right.
It's already written in there.
But it doesn't say what happens. I'm sorry. Got the floor.
By you.
It doesn't make clear what happens after that. That's what I'm trying to do, is clarify that no tax dollars should either party, or if you want to say the county or Shelter Friends, either one, I mean, however you would want it looked at, terminate, then county taxpayers will not be responsible for continuing to run the animal shelter. It says it can be terminated, but it doesn't say what actions or consequences happen after it. And the others may be correct and it can be taken care of, but I just want to make the point clear that I don't want to side with the taxpayers, and in our district, you probably have more calls and people come visit you say, we don't want to fund this, than have had been for it. And, I think the Shelter Friends have worked hard, and I admire them for what they've done, but I want to make it clear that we're not going to use them. Now, like I said, the other commissioners that spoke may be correct, but I would like to see this through.
Any other discussion on the motion to amend? Commissioner Clark.
They're obligating themselves for 2 years. I don't think they would walk away at the end of the 2 years. And if they did it one more year after that, that's a different body sitting here, should that happen. By the time it's built and they do their 2 years, it won't be this group that's gonna be sitting in these chairs by the time it does. I get Dusty's point, but I think we're messing with the next court's business on that. And the other thing I'll say, I want to say at some point, what Becky and her group has been doing for the last 5 years is trying to raise money to build a building. If Ms. Bates will remember 5 or 6 years ago when we were meeting at the ELC about this, I'm not trying to say I told you so, but I brought it up then that there's a lot more money for operations than there is for building. And the fact that they've raised 200, I'm still on topic, I'm just getting around to it. The fact that they've raised 200 to build a building, I don't see them having any trouble raising the yearly operating cost of this building, because that money's a lot easier to get. I think she'll agree with me that money's a lot easier to get than the brick and mortar. And so, whether I'm sitting here or not, I believe that what Dusty's trying to get ready for is not gonna occur before we have an election. So I probably can't support this amendment.
Any other motion, any other discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
No.
Ricky Murray.
No.
Keith Nash,
No.
Devin Pickard.
No.
Matthew Barhill.
No.
Paul Calcott.
No.
Clay Chester.
No.
Danny Clark.
No.
Todd Collins.
No.
Wayne Coniston.
No.
Steve Janaka.
Yes.
Dusty Jordan.
Yes.
Ron Mayberry.
Yes.
Wally McCollum.
Yes.
4 yes, 10 no.
Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
4 yes, 10 no.
Motion to amend fails. You have before you resolution 2328 as presented. Is there any other discussion on resolution 2328? Commissioner Calcott.
This is just a question, I'm not attacking anybody like that. It's just a question. But why wait until it's built before the memorandum of understanding is in place? What's the line of thinking? What's the purpose of that? And I'm just asking because I'm just asking what the line of thought was. So I'm asking for anybody, any sponsors, if they would like to jump in, explain that why after the completion of, why down the road? Why not now?
Commissioner Chester.
Well, I can answer for me, I can't answer for anyone else, but I just know we have sat in committees for how many years, and Ms. Bates presents, and there's hardly ever any questions, there's never any comments, and we were just at a stalemate. And I don't really want to waste their time really hammering out the fine details of this for this body to turn around and not vote to give them the money to build the thing right after that. And so I think it's only fair on our part, for the work they've done to this point, raising the money, securing the plans, getting the cost estimates, for us to give them assurances by passing this that we're gonna do what we've said we're gonna do, and then you hammer out the details, bring it back to us, and if there's something we're unhappy with, we have the power to vote no then. We're still gonna be, having some say in this. But before the ARPA money is drawn down below what we need, I want us to give them our assurance we're gonna pay for this. And then, like I said, that there's no way to get the resolution end of it perfect. My goal in this was to commit to them that we're going to provide this money and we're gonna let you run the shelter. And from there, work out the details with who all is gonna be involved, the sheriff, the shelter friends, the mayor to some extent. Bring back that proposal and then we would vote to approve or not approve that. So that was my thinking anyway in it.
Commissioner Clark.
To Claude's point, I don't intend to vote to turn the money loose. I can vote for this, but I can't vote for the budget amendment to turn the money loose till the memorandum of understanding is in place. So I think it needs to be in place before the backhoe goes in the ground. As far as that, we can do this. That takes care of what Clay wants to do. That obligates the ARPA money for this. But that's the extent of what I see we're doing here tonight, is we're obligating $550,000 of ARPA money. And Crystal can answer that, and some money to cushion the ambulance building up there in case it's more than what we've got appropriated, pretty much gets us out of the ARPA business. But I don't, the Shelter Friends and Humane Society has cause to celebrate after this vote. I'm thinking, the way I'm counting the votes, I wouldn't celebrate too big, because until that memorandum of understanding is worked out, we haven't turned loose of any money. We just said that's where it's gonna go when it goes. Does that satisfy you? That's the best we can do.
Commissioner Cotton.
So this passes as is. That appropriates, that sets aside the ARPA money for the shelter. And then there's gonna be another vote on a budget amendment before the money is transferred. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
But just for point of clarification, while there will have to be another vote, which will be a budget amendment, there's nothing that specifically ties that, other than the will of this body, to a MOU or any other ancillary agreement. So once a budget amendment is brought forward, there's no necessity or requirement for it to have any other supporting documentation, other than there's money that can be allocated, and we're gonna reallocate it. So just for a point of clarification, I don't want anybody to walk away thinking that there's somehow those are intricately linked. I mean, other than the fact that 8 people on this body can demand it, which is perfectly fine. Commissioner Cowell.
Can I have about a 4-minute recess? I have an amendment, but I'm not as articulate as the rest of y'all are, so it might take me a minute to get it down. And
We will take a 5-minute recess. I'll give you
extra
another
minute, be
extra
great.
minute. I know how slow
I'm not a
you
Hickman
can
County
be.
graduate, so I need extra time. I need extra time.
We will reconvene in 5 minutes.
I have a question about speed bump. Really got one question.
How you like that?
Yeah.
After careful deliberation, Commissioner Calicott has determined he's not going to offer it.
I'm not.
So you have before 23, 28 as presented. Any other discussion on resolution 23, 28? Commissioner Giannis.
Mr. Chairman, I got a couple of questions and some thoughts on this. Do we know how much the officer equipment truck is going to cost on a yearly basis?
I don't know, is Jason here?
I think he stepped out.
I will say he's got an officer already on staff that is already animal control certified, so it wouldn't necessarily be training costs on the front end, that sort of thing.
And then a second question I have, and maybe this is to the mayor, is there any other agreement like this with any other building that we have in the county that's similar to this? Where we bought the building, put it in there, we're funding to some degree part of it because we're gonna fund the officer. Is there any other type of agreement like that you're aware of?
There's two buildings, I think.
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please do.
The health department
a vehicle, I couldn't tell you, depends on if you find a used vehicle or, you know, state contract you're looking at. 2,000 for a basic vehicle. So I don't know if that helps. Your benefits are gonna be, whether they have single or family coverage, you're looking at just an estimate $20,000 extra in benefits.
Thank you. So if this goes into effect, we're looking at probably north of $100,000 a year by the time you add in insurance, utilities, everything to run this, because that's the part that we're obligated to pay. Is that correct? Are you?
Commissioner Chester.
One of the things Ms. Bates just pointed out is that a vehicle is already in our possession that Mr. Tanner secured once this was first being discussed back several years ago. So there may not be a vehicle cost. One of the other things I discussed with Sheriff Kraft is that I think similar to when we implemented the cleanup resolution, on the front end, there's probably going to be a heavy workload to get things where they need to be, but then eventually some of it will tail off, and part of the logic of Shelter Friends hiring that other employee on their own is so that then the deputy could also be used as Sheriff Kraft needs him in other, on the road patrol or something, if it's a time when there's not any animal calls. Even though we're going to have an animal control officer, I think the sheriff's department is also going to get some utilization of that employee, not just on animal related duties.
Commissioner Hart.
Not only that, if the sheriff were here, he'd tell you that he's already dedicating sufficient man hours to the cause already. We're not seeing a good return on those man hours. It won't be the total cost of this new employee, but we're already paying man hours to do animal control, but it's not getting a good return on it without a jail.
Any other discussion on resolution 23? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carl Moore?
And this is the resolution as is?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ricky Murray?
No.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Carl Calicut,
Yes.
Clay Chester,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins,
Yes.
Wayne Thompson,
Yes.
Steve Janakis,
No.
Dusty Jordan,
No.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
11, 11 yes, 3 no.
11 yes, 3 no. Does any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
11 yes, 3 no.
Resolution 2328 is approved. Resolution 2329 is a resolution of Hickman County to deed property to the industrial board for sale to Lay Star Inc. The sponsors are Commissioner Clark, Moore, Collins, Barnhill, Giannakis, Pickard, and Murray. Do any of you wish to speak to this resolution? Commissioner Clark.
I'm a sponsor. Carla and I wrote this resolution. When the county attorney became aware of it, and I appreciate his input, he had a modification to the last sentence. That was what was on the table when y'all sat down. It's the same resolution except for the last therefore. It's an alternate or
substitute.
Substitute.
So, as the sponsors, does any sponsor have an issue with the substitution in its entirety from one to the other?
Have you looked, the only thing that's changed is the last one, in my mind, it was, I'm glad he did it because it gives the IDB some flexibility that without this, they'll have to wait for us to meet again and any modifications they make to it. And I don't foresee any modifications, I'll say that up front. The terms of the sale are already pretty much hammered out with Laystar. They're gonna pay all costs. But I will ask you if
There's no objection to that substitution?
No. We're looking at the stapled one, right?
Yes. Yeah. Any further discussion on resolution 2329 and the substitution? Commissioner Collins.
I just want to make sure everybody, if there's any questions, now's the time, Laura, this is a very important vote. That those questions can be answered about this business that's coming in here, why this is being put before you tonight, how important this is. I think to the future of our county, the tax base is coming in, the opportunities for people to work, to earn that kind of money is a very, very good thing, I think. Any questions, now's the time to ask.
Any comments, questions on resolutions 2329? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Carla Moore,
Yes.
Ricky Murray,
Yes.
Keith Nash,
Yes.
Devin Pickard,
Yes.
Matthew Barnhill,
Yes.
Paul Calicut,
Yes.
Clay Chester,
Yes.
Danny Clark,
Yes.
Todd Collins, Wayne Thompson,
Yes.
Steve Janakis,
Yes.
Dusty Jordan,
Yes.
Ron Mayberry,
Yes.
Wiley McNair.
Yes.
14 yes,
14 yes. Any commissioner wish to change his or her vote?
14 yes.
Resolution 2329 is adopted. Are there any announcements or statements? Please be in attendance to the committee meetings this month because you'll be responsible for new chairmen and all that kind of thing. Except for health and safety, Commissioner Barnhill's
I just want to let everybody know that Representative Jody Barrett and Senator Kerry Roberts will be doing a town hall meeting the 3rd of October at 6 p.m. at the stadium. No, everybody's invited.
Any other announcements or statements? Statement, okay. Seeing nothing else, have a motion to adjourn? There we go.
6-6.